HOA Karen tried to use neighborhood rules to force her way into my private pool. She called the cops on me. But I had a surprise guest waiting. If you've ever dealt with a power-hungry HOA or a nosy neighbor like Karen, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a wild twist. Tell me, where are you watching from? It all started when summer arrived early in our quiet suburban neighborhood, and I, James Walker, decided to finally open my newly built backyard pool. A dream I had been saving up for years and worked relentlessly to bring to life, complete with a waterfall, edge underwater lighting, and a custom-built deck that wrapped around my patio like a resort feature. It was a gift to my family, especially for my 2 kids who'd begged me for a pool for nearly a decade. The first few weekends were pure bliss, laughter, splashing, and BBQ smoke curling into the sky, until HOA Karen, the self-appointed neighborhood queen who lived 3 doors down, caught sight of our private oasis and began storming down the sidewalk like a woman on a mission, her clipboard clutched in one hand and her ever-present Bluetooth headset blinking like a warning light. Community resources must be shared. She barked at me one morning when I was skimming the surface. This pool is obviously a communal benefit, and as per Section 7 of our HOA guidelines, all community water-based installations must offer access to registered residents. I blinked in disbelief, looked at her, then at the very clearly fenced and privately funded pool behind me. Karen, this isn't a community pool. I paid for it. I own the property. It's not in the HOA common space, I replied, trying to stay calm. But Karen's eyes narrowed like she smelled a lawsuit. We'll see about that, she muttered. I thought that was the end of it, but oh no, the next weekend, Karen. Returned swimsuit under her floral cover-up and 3 other HOA board members in tow, demanding access to my backyard, as if it were a public park. When I said no again and closed the gate firmly behind me, she whipped out her phone and dialed the police. Right in front of me, shouting loud enough for the entire block to hear, "Yes, I'd like to report a community rule violation and denial of access to shared property. Yes, I'm with the HOA. It's urgent." The officers arrived shortly after, but before they could step foot onto my property, a sleek black SUV pulled up across the street. The doors opened, and out stepped Councilman Frederick Bowen, the city's youngest council member, and a friend I'd made while helping organize a charity event for local veterans. Behind him came his aide, 2 lawyers, and, to Karen's horror, a Channel 8 news reporter who had agreed to cover the positive impact of private homeowners improving their property value. Karen's expression froze as she saw the cameras rolling. "This is my guest list," I said, motioning to the councilman. "Then they're here to witness the misuse of HOA power in action." Karen's jaw was practically on the pavement, and for once, her Bluetooth headset went silent as she tried to piece together how her carefully orchestrated cop call had spiraled into a public relations disaster. One of the officers quietly asked me for my side, and I handed over every permit, the property survey, and proof that not only was the pool 100% within my personal lot, but also that no HOA funds, approvals, or easements had ever been tied to it. Councilman Bowen stepped forward with the confidence of someone used to shutting down nonsense. "Gentlemen," he addressed the officers, "this appears to be a case of a private citizen being harassed under false pretenses. In fact, this incident may violate City Code Section 241, concerning misuse of public emergency services for civil disputes." Karen paled, and one of the officers turned to her and gently suggested she step aside while they finished the investigation. Karen sputtered, trying to justify her actions by pointing at HOA guidelines. But the lawyer on Councilman Bowen's team cut her off. "Your HOA documents hold no jurisdiction over private property improvements unless stated in the original deed restrictions, which I believe this neighborhood doesn't include for post-construction additions." As the news cameras rolled, Karen was visibly sweating. I added, "And just so we're clear, inviting media was never about showboating. It was about accountability. You can't keep threatening people and expect silence forever." What Karen didn't know was that this was her first overstep on record. ID gathered signed letters from 7 other homeowners she harassed over minor landscaping choices and porch decorations. Bowen's team agreed to help bring a motion to the city council, not to dissolve the HOA entirely, but to restructure it, replacing current board members with homeowner-elected ones under city supervision for the next election cycle. Karen, knowing her iron grip was crumbling, Tried one last desperate move. I was only doing what's best for the community, she cried. But no one was listening anymore, not even the other board members, who quietly began to step away from her, like passengers abandoning a sinking ship. The police left without pressing charges, for now, but the councilman promised a formal report to be filed regarding misuse of public resources. Karen marched home in silence, while the neighborhood watched from behind curtains and porches, whispers growing louder with every step she took. By sunset, her reign of pool tyranny had officially ended. Over the following week, the story aired locally and went semi-viral online, especially after the reporter gave it the dramatic title, Poolgate: How One Man Beat the HOA at Their Own Game. I received supportive messages from strangers. Neighbors brought over baked goods as peace offerings. The mayor himself tweeted a gif of a guy cannonballing into a pool with the caption, "Let the man swim." Karen, meanwhile, was voted off the HOA board during the emergency re-election. Her resignation made official in a tersely worded email with zero fanfare. But the best moment came that next Saturday, when I threw a backyard celebration. Not a public event, but an invitation-only gathering of friends, family, and neighbors who'd stood by me. Councilman Bowen showed up again, this time with his wife and 2 kids in tow, who laughed and played in the water like it was a 5-star resort. My wife, who had quietly supported me through all of it, clinked glasses with me on the deck. "You handled it perfectly," she said. I smiled. "No," I replied, watching my children splash around with pure joy. "We handled it." Just then, I noticed Karen watching from behind her curtains, arms crossed, alone. She closed the blinds, and I turned back to the party. Some battles aren't won with yelling or retaliation. Sometimes you just need the right guest list, a little patience, and a whole lot of truth. And in the end, the one who tried to drown us in rules found herself shut out of the very pool she tried to claim.